What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Trey Swish, and apparently they are gaslighting us.
Okay,
Boy,
I'm getting the blanket back out for this one because I need to talk about something that's kind of been bothering me. A few
what's
weeks
that?
ago, I was watching the Witcher 4 tech demo at the
Ooh,
2025 State of Unreal.
okay,
Genuinely excited about what I was seeing. And of
yeah.
course, one of the first things that I realized is that Ciri looked incredible. I immediately noticed a difference in her design, and I remember
You saw a difference in her design from the launch trailer, where she pretty much goes slays a monster, comes back because the girl was supposed to do it, and she got killed by the villain. Like you think she looks different from that than the Unreal tech demo? Okay, this is actually a topic that a lot of people have talked about. Trust me, I've been watching The Witcher TV series all the way through. I tried to play The Witcher 3 a while back. I came in with no lore knowledge at all. Didn't understand it at all. Game was good, interesting story. Um, but yeah, I had no idea what the fuck was happening in that game. It was interesting though. So I'm gonna finish the Witcher series, which has been good. I'm in season 3 now, which is not as good as the first two so far, but it's still fucking good. I know there's a lot of like canon jitter and stuff like that. Fan fiction. It's not the books. It's they change things, whatever it might be, right? Um, but there was a lot of people when they saw this tech demo and they immediately thought that Siri looked way better, way hotter, to be specific, right? We're talking about the gooners and the grifters and everything and above, right? These are multiple talking points that people have been saying that Siri was uglified in the initial launch trailer, right? I don't think that's the case, but is what it is. Comment down below if you think they did or not.
thinking, oh wow, they
She
actually
thinks it's true. I don't know about that one. I'll call a spade when I see one, and I don't seem like a spade to me.
listened to fan feedback and refined her design. That's a little bit surprising. Then, not even a few hours later, CD Projekt Red tells press that they hadn't changed her, besides two very minor adjustments. And
Two minor. What does that mean? I've done a lot of character creators in my gaming lifetime. Two little critiques on a character's face model, it can change quite a bit.
basically, that what I was seeing with my own eyes wasn't actually what I was seeing.
Yeah.
You know that feeling when someone says or does something right in front of you, and then when you point it out, they look you in the eye and they tell you that it never happened?
Oh boy, do I.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like being a gamer in 2025. I think we're all being gaslit pretty hard at this point.
I don't even think it's being gaslit. I think this has happened multiple times. Since I've been making content, I've realized a lot. I've recognized a lot more patterns just because I talk about them more. And I recognize them back in the day too. But talking about them more specifically, it pops out like way more. I think, like, for instance, with the Ghost of Yote situation, people immediately thought the game was going to be woke because the character model of the protagonist that they based off a real person. That person made some weird tweets or something like that were, I think, liberal or just weird in general, right? And people immediately thought that, oh, since they're basing the character model design off of this chick, gee whiz, the fucking game is woke. Okay, that's to be seen, but I think that's you're seeing red, right? The wolf is fucking they crying wolf way too many times. You don't even give a fuck at this point, right? I don't think that's the case with that, but we'll see. We'll see. I think that's the same thing that's happening with The Witcher. You've seen a lot of companies over the years uglify their female protagonists, trying to cater to a certain propaganda, a certain culture in gaming culture, especially in gamer development. It's fucking annoying as hell because people are complaining about people buying their games and playing their games and people being bigots and racist and stuff. Like, your problem isn't toxicity. Your problem is money. You need to make more money with your fucking games, and you keep on doing. Look at Fable. They made their character ugly as hell. That might work out because that game is full of satire, and I could see that actually working out pretty well. But like, you have Horizon 1 to Horizon 2. Didn't they change her character to make her uglier? I mean, look what they did with the Last of Us season. With the series in general. There's a lot of different examples. Tomb Raider, and I could go on and on. And then also with like Stellar Blade, where the overall opinion of, oh, she's just a sexy person, that no person looks like this, and then you find out she's actually a real character model. It's just, there's so many patterns in the industry where it's like, oh, the shadowing of this character makes her look a little uglier, I guess, right? A little bit more mean, a little bit more rugged. Wow, they woke it up. This is not a female protagonist. You're making her up. It's just, bro, it's all this bullshit, man. It really is. It's annoying, and I understand why people think it, because they've been victimized so much by the industry from their own fucking stupid ways of losing money.
The state of the industry as a whole has gotten more and more questionable over the years, but lately it seems like
it's probably due to the industry popping off like crazy, and especially since COVID. And what also popped off like crazy since COVID is radical left-leaning talking points and thinking, and also right-wing and just radical thinking in general. It's fucking insane these days, and there's a lot of factors you could blame that on, honestly. Like social media, obviously it's going to put a magnifying glass on the most extreme out there things, that because no one wants to scroll and watch ordinary bullshit. They want to watch something that pops, something that catches their eye, makes you watch for a little bit. And I think that same type of culture has emulated into just overall culture when it comes to developing video games, developing anything really these days. Big money type shit. You know, I want my audience to be as big as possible, so we gotta check every single box. Therefore, it's for everyone, but it's actually for no one.
it's all been coming to a head, and over again, I've recognized the pattern of being told that what we're seeing, feeling, and experiencing is actually not the case. This is kind of an important thing, and it matters to me because there used to be a time when you could generally trust what the industry professionals were telling you.
I would say Halo, like Halo 3. But then I think back to the E3 of Halo 2, you know, like shit, like you could still have, like, I think it's just, is there soul in the game or not, right? Is this a corporate ladder where someone that does their task is literally working the factory line, right? You know what I mean? Like, is there soul in this game? And I think that's why indies have been very successful lately, because they still have soul. They have smaller teams, you know, they don't have thousands of people working on one game. That's just fucking ridiculous, bro. Especially with like Unreal Engine and stuff like that. Like the technology that people have available to them now. I don't know why they have such big company. I get it. I understand why, but still, it just seems redundant.
The studio said they hadn't changed something, they hadn't changed it. When they explained why a game underperformed, their reasoning typically aligned with what players were actually experiencing. And when companies talked about their design choices, their explanations felt genuine and transparent. But somewhere along the way, that started to change. Now I find myself constantly
Now if they don't sell enough copies, they call you a racist or bigot or sexist pig. You know, they got a lot of words, but my mama told me one thing. She said, sticks and stones might break your bones, but words will never hurt me.
and guessing official statements and cross-referencing a studio's or journalist claims with what I can see with my own eyes. And I'm always wondering if there's some other angle or narrative being pushed. The erosion of that basic...
I think that everyone thinks that. I feel like there's a lot of... If you think that the gaming industry has been going down, especially AAA in general, a negative route, I think a lot of people wonder, is there some conspiracy going on?
Trust between the gaming industry and us, their audience. That's what really bothers me, because when you don't have that basic foundation, when you feel like you can't trust the people making the games to be honest about the games they're making,
why would you trust it to be good?
Everything else starts to crumble. So today we're going to talk about some recent examples of industry gaslighting, because I fear the feeling of, I think I'm going crazy, has finally caught up with me.
Okay.
Let's start.
I have, to be fair, I have been away for a while, about a month and a half. I'm clean shaven, a little healthier. I was like 240. Boy, I'm 220 now, 223. So yeah, I've been at it. But hopefully I know all the references she's been talking about. I've been glued to every single topic that I would have reacted to in general, but I just had burnout, you know?
With the moment that really sparked this whole video and honestly made me question my own eyes. CD Projekt Red delivered a beautiful tech demo that gave us a gorgeous slice of the direction that they're hoping to take with Witcher 4. Kelpie
Vertical slice is very, like, key on that. That is a huge thing.
He looks like she just got plucked out of Anna Sewell's novel, and the world of the game is absolutely captivating. And
yeah, horse balls was trending this night when this, this was crazy.
And yes, they're telling us that the demo is running at 60 FPS with full ray tracing on a base PS5, which is pretty cool, I guess, even though...
No, that's insane, because the amount of ray tracing that's going on in this vertical slice tech demo is phenomenal. It is crazy that this would be able to run on a PlayStation 5, which is crazy to me why people are talking about a PS6 already. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, the Switch just got 4K. Come on, let the Switch cook a little bit, bro. Xbox and fucking PlayStation over here. Oh, nope, fuck that shit. We gotta innovate too.
This is just a demo. So after watching this not gameplay of Witcher 4, I was a little bit conflicted. I wanted to be excited, but not too excited, while also being especially cautious since
I'm super excited, bro.
I'm playing it on a PC. RIP to any Xbox Series S users. But then I saw Ciri and my heart just lifted. I was genuinely kind of in awe of how beautiful she looked. She felt like the Ciri I remembered, the one I'd fallen in love with in Witcher 3, and I thought, wow, they obviously listened to fans on this, and...
It's crazy to me because, like, I've been watching the Witcher series, and the character that they casted as young Ciri, if she grew up, she would look just like this, like, straight up. And I don't see, like, she's talking about it, like, the difference between the initial launch Witcher 4 trailer and this Unreal trailer was totally different. It doesn't look different at all. Like, I have my contacts in and everything. Like, I've even looked at the side-by-sides. I don't know where people are getting off on this, like, concept.
Honestly, I was really grateful and impressed. I thought it was such a smart move to make changes and improve her design. It's just have her be more in line with the old look and feel from the previous game. Although, I am very sorry to...
What is this? Always wanted to play a MILF. Oh, Joe. What? But they made her more feminine and young. Disappointed. God. The sad part is this guy's probably not lying, bro. There's so many weird fetishes.
This man who felt differently.
Oh,
then,
Jesus.
after fans began to celebrate and speculate, CD Projekt Red tells the press, "We have not modified Ciri's face." According to them, this was the same model that was used for The Witcher 3, the cinematic reveal trailer from the Game Awards last December, and the new tech demo from earlier this month. They said it was adapted to work with the latest metahuman technology, but that the model...
Ciri's face is a direct copy of the Witcher 3 model. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that Family Guy episode where they're, like, crushing on the newscaster, the chick, you know, the news girl, whatever her name is, you know, does the weather. You know, there's a lot of great news girls out there. Phenomenal, right? You got Brazil, I don't even want to go over, Mexico. There's a lot of really great quality news anchors. But in this episode of Family Guy, specifically, they upgraded their TV to see her, I think it was like HD or something back in the day. And she just looked terrible. She looks so much better with the blurry saturation. I think it was fucking hilarious. I think that's what's happening here. I really think that, like, a fucking direct copy. Now, this is CD Red is being truthful, and I know I love Cyberpunk. I enjoyed that game. I played that quite a bit in the month and a half I took off. Phenomenal state that the game's in. But I remember the launch of that game. That was pitiful. That was disturbing, borderline false advertisement, low key. But what they did, they earned a lot of respect by coming back. But you know, I don't know. I gotta take this with a grain of salt. But I really do think that when I look at the before and after, if you want to call it that, they don't look different at all. They really don't look different. The only thing that's different is the lighting. Like, you have a dark tone trailer where, even when it's before she's trying to fight the monster, right? It's dark, you have the fucking firelight, she has the hood on, all that kind of stuff. It is a dark themed centric trailer that embodies the Witcher vibe 100%, stoic-ish, and that's a whole different vibe than what we got with the Unreal trailer, which is a upbeat, well-lit, happy, green, everything everywhere. I mean, when she fought the monster, the color palette was like white, black, and blue. Straight up. And some people overreact because of the it's just the pattern that the industry has had. And I mean, we made a lot of videos, bro. We reacted to a lot of different topics, whether it been Concord or Dragon Age of Veilguard or Avowed, or there's just so many to talk about of these huge AAA flops, you know, Ubisoft's, not Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed,
model
it's
was the
so
exact
many
same.
of them.
And then after
So everyone
talking
sees
about
red.
it even further, they almost kind of cautiously admitted that they made slight improvements to her eye area. And then I just
That's not much at all. They should probably adding fidelity to the eyes.
sat there squinting at Ciri's face for the next 10 minutes, feeling really dumb and comparing the two like I was going crazy because
Yeah, she's scowling. Now, the only thing right off the bat I could say maybe is her jawline. But maybe it's just the way she looks like.
I was going crazy.
Yeah, she looks exactly the same. Like, these are two different photos with two different angles. It looks like the exact same person. It really does. One is a happy moment where her face looks normal, and the other one's like a scowl. Okay, I look better. Like, I look different when I look this way versus this way. Happy swish. I look different, bro. It's just fucking angles. People are so obsessed with fucking Instagram and Snapchat and, you know, taking the selfies and shit like that. How do they not know this shit?
Really see a pretty big difference. At this point, I've seen all the talking points, even from
I really don't see a big difference at all. I really don't.
CD Projekt Red themselves, lighting, camera angles, cinematics
Yeah.
versus the tech demo rendering. And yes, those do play a role. And listen, I am not a tech whiz.
Bro, that one looks so similar to this. Like, what? Am I tripping? I don't see one, like... Oh, what's this?
Cinematics versus the tech demo rendering. And
I'm gonna
yes,
draw myself
those
insane,
do play a
bro.
role. And listen, I am not a tech whiz by any means, but the bottom line is that when you put all three pictures up side by side,
I'm sorry, but, like, I'm gonna be real. Even I don't even give a fuck. Take away this version, right? I'll put my face over it. We're already women. Winning. We're winning, bro. Like, bro, come on. What are we talking about? That is such an upgrade.
come on, she clearly looks pretty different, right? Like, right? But between the cinematic reveal and this latest
Right?
version in the tech demo, there have clearly been some changes made, and it's
Oh, no,
an
man.
obvious improvement that we should be celebrating.
Yes.
Now, you might be saying,
yeah.
NPC, is this even that big of a deal? You
Not at all. Not at all. But it is a big deal to some people.
know what? You're probably right. But here's the thing. I was pretty surprised when they first revealed Ciri's design in the cinematic last year. And I was not alone. There was a whole range of responses. For me, I had no problem with the fact that she is older. And even though I love Geralt, I also had no problem with him not being the main protagonist. My problem was that her design was
Okay, I haven't played The Witcher 3 all the way through, but I've watched so many Witcher videos. Doesn't Geralt fucking die in The Witcher 3? How the what? How could he even be the, like, unless we get something like Jon Snow situation where the gods that be or magic brings him back to life. I don't fucking know. Like, I guess, like, there hasn't been a female Witcher, and if she becomes a female Witcher, that's the first time ever. Like, I guess you could have Geralt come back from the dead. I don't, maybe he doesn't even fucking die. I don't fucking know. But still, like, I thought he fucking died. Like,
just
what?
weird. It was just
Yeah.
off. It didn't
Well,
look
weird,
like the
huh?
Ciri I had remembered, even with her being aged up. It was like they were randomly trying to give us some new Timu Ciri. And now that she
Man, if this is Timu Ciri, bro, I'll play Timu Witcher. Shit, I don't give a damn.
It clearly looks different
all
and
fan
more
fiction,
like her
right?
previous model in such a good way. Why are we being told that we're essentially imagining these improvements? I don't know, just take the W, say, yeah, we worked to refine her look, and move on. We're never gonna be mad at you for giving a beloved character the Sonic treatment.
Bro, this thing was insane when they released the Unreal footage where like she bumps that guy and then the apples fall to the ground and then she walks past this kid and the kid runs and picks up the apples and stuff like that. Obviously you're gonna have set pieces like that in games where they're like time cinematics and stuff like that like, you know, weave into the actual gameplay of the game that feel organic, and it just makes it more of a movie cinematic experience. And this is all derived from probably The Last of Us, which just kind of put the gaming industry on the map for actually having like a real movie cinematic experience. God of War does this phenomenally. There's a lot of games that do this very well now. But if that feature is actually able to be utilized, I don't know, with like code or AI or somehow, so this like random events actually happen. It's not just set piece timing with cinematics where you like first enter an area or you enter an area after you kill a certain person or something like that. If this just can happen organically, like if you don't even fucking follow the story at all and shit's happening like this all around you, bro, like this is the type of shit that GTA 6 needs to have. This is insane.
Which, by the way, worked out really well for Paramount. They're literally working on Sonic 4 as I speak, so please make this make sense. CD Projekt Red, your demo looked amazing.
I'm confused. I don't even know what she was talking about. I just rambled off on something else.
For giving a beloved character the Sonic treatment, which, by the way, worked out really.
Wait, you're comparing Sonic the Hedgehog, the initial character design that they had, to... Oh no. Oh no. Dude, the Sonic the Hedgehog was a fucking nightmare out of hell. He was like, I swear, in 100 years, because I see like people use Mickey Mouse, like the old Steamboat Willie or whatever Mickey, and using it in like a game now or a scary movie, stuff like that. Like 100 years, I hope someone uses that fucking original concept art for like a scary game or something. I don't know what, but boy, that shit's gonna be fucking crazy, because that character, it was scarier than anything in like Monsters Inc. or anything like that. It was fucking creepy as hell, and Sonic looks awesome now. But I think comparing something that's so, like, there's so much contrast between the Sonic upgrade, I guess you could call it, to the Ciri upgrade, like that's just like, what? Like, this reminds me of people, like, they're like, oh, the glow up is real, and, like, all they did is, like, a weight loss photo, and all they did was, like, step back or, like, change the lighting. It's like, it's the same exact fucking person, just changed a couple things in the environment.
Well, for Paramount. They're literally working on Sonic 4 as I speak, so please make this make sense. CD Projekt Red, your demo looked amazing, and your fans love you, and they just want to praise you. Just let them. All right, moving on to BioWare, EA, and Dragon Age the Veilguard, because yes, the horse isn't quite dead enough.
No, it's not.
This is a perfect textbook example of blame deflection, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around how all of this is played out. So Dragon Age the Veilguard came out last
Bro, we made so many videos off of this shit.
October. A game that could have cost up to $250 million to make, and as we all know,
$250 million. I think the F1 movie just came out. I think I saw a total was like $200 million to make that movie. You're telling me Dragon Age fucking Veilguard costs more? Oh my god.
It did not go well, to say the least. Critics and journalists across the board gave this game incredibly high scores. They were,
especially IGN. I think, what was it, like a 9? A 9?
Eating it up. Some even called it the best in the series.
Which is crazy, because the game before this won Game of the Year. And they had the nerve to say that this game was a return to form. Y'all remember that? It's a return to form. No, return to what? What are you returning from? A fucking psychedelic trip?
And Metacritic even gave it an 89 with 0 negative reviews, actually. Users, they gave it just a 3.9.
Yeah, never listen to the fucking critics when it comes to reviews. Always look at the users. I don't know who would be like, oh, I don't care about the user score or the audience score. I care about the critic score because I'm a very intelligent person and I understand because I'm smart like a critic. Like, bro, get the fuck out of here. These people just want perks and they want to be able to review movies constantly or games constantly and be in good favor with these people because they need something to talk about. It's crazy, man.
That's a pretty huge gap. And now we just have this.
Bro, Xbox gave it an 85? What, were they too busy building the fucking handheld to actually pay attention? That is crazy. Oh, actually, isn't... That would actually make sense. Don't they have a stake in the fight?
Weird situation where we're told by the industry that this is a great game. I mean, just look at the review scores. But players are having a much different experience. And this whole situation just added more fuel to the fire of gamers not trusting professional reviews.
No, not just that. There's been a lot of situations where people will give negative reviews and then they will delete the reviews. So people will have to give it a positive review, and then on top of that, they will state, like, the fine print, did not enjoy this game. They will take down my review or something like that. It is insane, bro. Like, oh, it's so fucking gross.
There's such a massive disconnect between critics and players. What are we supposed to believe? What is the actual truth when it...
Yourself. You're supposed to believe yourself. You play the game, you figure it out for yourself. Because there's a lot of people that watch these videos that might not agree with my opinion, okay? That's cool. I'm cool with that. I love hearing from people that have different opinions because it's great to hear diversity and thinking and stuff like that. But trust your fucking self. You know, you can watch a YouTuber or a streamer play the game and understand if you might like this game or not. But I really think it boils down to marketing for the game. Because if you can create a trailer that embodies what the game is about, it's not very hard. As long as you have a good game, it kind of is easy to do. If you don't have a good game and you're trying to market it, then it can come off as, what are we really watching? And you know, gamers already at this point, they know the patterns, the telltale signs. So yeah, just trust yourself.
Comes to the quality of the game. So all of this went down last October, and it seems like it had pretty much fallen to the wayside, a memory that everyone was just trying to forget until, for whatever reason, multiple reports and articles came out just recently attempting to figure out the real reasons for this game's commercial failure. According to EA's CEO Andrew Wilson, the game failed because it didn't resonate with a broad audience that wants shared world features and live services. Okay, I guess I'll have to take your word for it on that one, Andrew. According to Bloomberg, the blame was on the 10-year developmental cycle of...
That is actually plausible. There's a lot of games. Don't get me started on this. You have so many games that are tied up with such long development cycles where the core concept of the game is already outdated by the time it launches. Or by the time it launches, you don't have enough content to keep the people actually in the game itself. There's so many, like, metas, quote unquote, that have come and gone, and there's so many games that were in development from 2020 that still have yet to hit the shelves and that are already fucking dead because the concept itself was made off of trying to follow a meta, and the meta has already changed, right? It's already completely saturated. No one wants to fucking play your live service game that's gonna be gone in 2 months. Like, it's fucking annoying. I really wish people would just embody trying to put a soul in the idea that they're chasing instead of chasing something that already works, right? It's fucking frustrating, but it's the industry we live in. Like, it is fucking nuts to see them do this. There's so much money poured into this shit. You'd think decision makers wouldn't be so fucking stupid, but you know, people are people.
Of pure chaos, including numerous internal pivots, project shifts, and the scrapping of those pesky live service integrations. But if you look at what players and many longtime fans of the series had to say, you see a different story. Some of the common criticisms reflect things like lack of player agency, dismissal of established lore, shallow combat systems, unlike...
Bro, the combat system is a joke. Like, the progression of the combat system in this game was so fucking pitiful. It was literally you just playing the exact same way throughout the game, but you just got stronger. It's the dumbest idea and not fun at all. Like, no creativity with the animations and making them evolve. That's why I love God of War so much, because, like, you unlock different abilities with different animations, and it changes the way you play from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. It is a true progression of power and understanding of the mechanics and everything like that. It's so awesome because not the story isn't just developing, you are developing as you play the game. This game, on the other hand, is fucking boring as shit because it doesn't progress at all. You just get stronger.
Couple characters,
So
weak
stupid.
storytelling, and yes, poorly written dialogue that felt
Terrible dialogue. Terrible fucking dialogue. Whoever wrote the fucking... That shit needs to go see a counselor or something. That shit was fucking god-awful. And I know people want to meme on the pronouns, the barb, and stuff like that. But they're trying to check the boxes so they can apply their, brownie points to the woke culture. Or maybe it's the gaming development industry culture or whatever it is, because if they get fired from BioWare, at least they'll have a job somewhere else because their political views align with the person that's hiring them. I don't know what it is, bro. It's one of those questions everyone wants to know, why the industry is why it is in America, and it's funny to see everyone else succeed overseas because they don't give a fuck about this shit.
very preachy and awkward.
But no, to be real, I was trying to talk about the pronouns and shit like that. The representation, the overall negative impact that they probably did for that audience itself, pulling a barb, like misgendering someone or or mispronouncing or whatever you fucking call it, it is fucking irreversible with the gaming culture. It is disgusting. Like, this person was trying to get brownie points, but in doing so, probably just completely just neglected everyone that is part of that group, or a lot of the people that are in that group, because it's not a good look. It's really not. It's like, I'm gonna do physical labor because I misgendered you, and then it's just bad.
So many Dragon Age fans have said that it just did not feel like a true Dragon Age game.
No.
And this misfire,
It didn't even feel true to the propaganda that they tried to push into that shit and shove it in your face. It's crazy. It's like, how do you fuck up on both ends? You know what I mean?
on EA's part directly led to them falling short of their 3 million player target by about 50% after it was
Damn.
reported that only 1.5 million players engaged with the game. Layoffs followed, and EA's been trying really hard
I wonder how many of those people got refunds. What's that 3-hour rule on Steam?
for the last 8 months to place the blame somewhere, but instead of listening to legitimate player criticism,
Oh, and also that counts a lot of people that have the don't they have a subscription service? Oh, I'm thinking of fucking Assassin's Creed with Ubisoft. They had the subscription service where, this many people are playing the game, but in reality it's just people that would, pay like $10. They weren't actually buying the game.
or looking at the past 10 years of corporate meddling, their response was to essentially blame the gamers. Whew, there's almost
That's
too much.
always a good option. If the customer thinks you're wrong, just tell them that the customer's never fucking right. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. All those, conversations you're having with your fellow employees, by the getting your water at the little tank, right? Everyone's talking shit about Shirley because she keeps on calling the office and bitching. You're supposed to call Shirley and tell her to shut the fuck up and just fucking pay us the rest of the money she's owed. Of course that's what you're supposed to. No! Customer's always fucking right. You have a business because there's a service that they want to fucking buy or use or need. Some reason along whatever it is, the communication or whatever it is, you're fucking up. Figure out what it is and fix it. Like, God, there's so many developers out there that actually listen to their audience, and guess what? People actually have respect for them. It's crazy ideal, right? Like, who would have thought?
Much gaslighting here to keep track of, but I feel like the facts are pretty clear.
I'm getting
EA
gaslit
and
a lot.
BioWare put out a mediocre at best game, and their design decisions and motives were just
Mediocre doesn't tell it justice, because this is a AAA game. How many people worked on this? How much money did it cost? This is not mediocre. This is fucking failure.
not what the audience was looking for. And
trying to make
then when the
money.
criticisms started rolling in, they blamed the audience and said it was their fault. How
Of course, they did the same thing with the Star Wars Acolyte. They called people bigots and racists and all this kind of bullshit. And you had Star Wars Acolyte had a lot of potential because it was dealing with dark side lore and had a lot of access to that. And the overall set pieces and stuff like that, there's a lot of like cheapness. I don't know what it is with Star Wars and how they film stuff these days. Like the lightsabers look fat. They look like the toys back in the day. I used to like the I used to hate the toys because how fat they were. I wish they had a skinnier cylinder. I don't know why I just did that. Don't clip that. That shit was weird as fuck. But like I wish the blade was smaller like it was in the movies, and then they made them fatter. It's like they're using the toys to actually record. They probably are actually doing that. But you know, it's not just stuff like that. The writing was piss poor, you know. I'm not going to even say the actors did a bad job, but the writing in general was so bad. And that show had so much potential because it's dealing with probably one of the best concepts of Star Wars, which is the dark side. And it got canceled. It's like, bro, and people are out here like calling people bigots and sexist and stuff like that because they don't like the show. It's like, no. No. The show's bad. Like, you could like it, but it was not told. The story is not told in a good way. Just because the concepts are cool doesn't mean the story is good. Like, bro.
Are we supposed to have honest conversations about what went wrong and how to avoid those mistakes in the future if we can't even agree on reality?
Exactly.
But EA's
hindsight, that's how you agree. You let, if something's burning, eventually it'll stop burning and it'll be ashes, and everyone can look at it and point at it and be like, that's ashes. Oh, that didn't make as much money as it was supposed to. It's not as easy as that, because you do have situations where you have like movies that come out, like another Star Wars movie, Star Wars The Last Jedi, did very well. Force Awakens did phenomenal. And then the Rise of Skywalker, it did good too. They all made a lot of money, but there was a lot of drop off there. And they could have made a lot more money if The Last Jedi was a lot better, right? Instead of it going down after The Force Awakens, it could have went up. It could have, but it didn't. So people say that's a win because they made a lot of money off of those movies. I think it's really just off a nostalgia purge that they've had for so long since the prequel trilogy. So it can get a little confusing where you see like, oh, this game made a lot of money, but it doesn't seem like it was really that good of a game. So that's where you have to really lean in more on your chops and your gut feeling on your experience. And everyone's gonna be a little different. You know, we can all disagree on things.
got nothing on Ubisoft. Listen, I used to be a pretty big Ubisoft fan, okay? Assassin's Creed 2, Black Flag, Origins, Far Cry 4, and of course, the one I'm sure you're all thinking of, Just Dance.
What? They made this shit? Wait. This is like the Rock Band, bro. Because I remember, wasn't there another game before Just Dance? Because I swear there was like a Guitar Hero 2 Rock Band version of Just Dance. Like if Rock Band was Just Dance, there was like a Guitar Hero version of Just Dance. What was that? I can't even fucking remember what it was called. I swear I played it back in like Main Event. Oh god, it's gotta come to me. It's gotta come to me. What is it called, bro? I can't remember what it's called. Oh, this is gonna bug me, man. Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. Or was Just Dance the... Dude, this was big back in the day. I mean, it was like Yu-Gi-Oh! They had this. Like, people were playing this shit. Like, it was around quite a bit. Interesting.
These games were...
Damn, this is all Wii games, bro. They were fucking farming this shit. Jesus Christ. This is like... You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Sims 3. You look at all the fucking DLC they got on there. It's like, what, $8,000 to buy the whole entire game now?
Huge part of my gaming life. So watching what's happened to this company, it genuinely does hurt to see. Like a tale as old as time.
It actually doesn't hurt to see, because what happened in the reaction, you had Tencent come in and they made a... what's it called? I forgot what the language is, pretty much. But pretty much they put their biggest IP, Ubisoft did, into this agreement where it's protected outside of everything else that Ubisoft has. And Tencent has stake in it as well. So they're pushing money into it, which should help them hire more people for the factory lines and produce better games. It's actually... possibly a positive outcome. I think it's actually the best outcome they could have had. But yeah.
Ubisoft has been struggling after their recent debacles. They unfortunately suffered some pretty big losses after the underperformance of Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws. And what was their response? Well, they...
The fact that we had a Star Wars Outlaws game, but you didn't kill people, you just knocked them out. It's crazy. Like you could kill, you would, I would kill people in Lego Star Wars. Not even the OG Lego Star Wars. You just shoot them and they would blow up, bro. You can't even do that in an Outlaws game. That's crazy.
Of course, followed this new industry trend where
they did have a very good cutscene in the beginning of the game, though. That shit went hard.
CEO blamed the gamers. Now, there was a lot of controversy surrounding this game before it even came out, and it was reported that Ubisoft actually had an anti-harassment plan in place when...
Yeah, they had this, but like, let's be real. Whose genius idea? It's a very bold move, but whose genius idea was it to have a black protagonist in a Japanese samurai game? Like, I understand the history and the nuance with the whole subject, but you know, there's stereotypes that you learn at a very young age from just watching movies and stuff like that. Very, very bold move, I'll say to myself. That was a very bold move. They just, you know, they didn't land they didn't get the execution down, but
the game launched. It's wild to think that they were literally preparing for backlash before this game even came out.
Yeah, and they delayed it. What's also crazy with this whole situation is they could have delayed it even longer, because the reason they released it where they did was trying to strategically place themselves where GTA 6 wouldn't negatively influence their game. Pretty much not being overshadowed because GTA 6 was launched, which is hilarious because once they launched this game, GTA 6 soon announced that they were delaying to 2026, which is fucking hilarious. Dude, GTA 6 has this fucking industry in a chokehold right now. It is crazy.
And just a really quick side note on this. I don't like the attacking or harassment of an individual developer.
No, me neither. There's a lot of schizos out there on the internet, and there's some that have found my channel as well and have commented down below, and your comments don't go through, but I can still see them. Crazy. There's some crazy people on the web. I do not condone harassment of any kind, but yeah, there's people that do that. But like, anti-harassment policy is very, very, there's a lot of nuance with that, because where does analysts, a little bit of dialogue, having a conversation about the game in general and just being blunt and honest about that, where does that bridge into harassment, right? That's the biggest issue for me, because when this came out, I kind of got a little alarmed because I was worried that they were going to go after small creators that weren't going to have clout to pretty much bring this to light and stuff like that. It's a little scary on the web sometimes.
It is pretty wild to be in the business of making games for a living. Something that's inherently supposed to be fun and engaging, an escape for consumers, something that for the most part should be a joy to work on. And somehow put yourselves in a situation where you're preparing for backlash over things that you intentionally acknowledged.
It's not even that. I feel like the reading the room when this came out was like, it really seemed that Ubisoft was trying to like put their nuts on the table, I guess you could say, pretty much like, we know y'all are going to try to hate us and hate on this game, and we're ready to take legal action because of it. And that was alarming to me, because it seemed a little predatory to just the gaming industry as a whole when it has for people that have commentary like me, right? It's concerning when that's, you're resulting to that, because I really do believe in freedom of speech, and that seemed anything but.
Chose to do and could have completely avoided. It's like knowing the future but still making the decisions that led to your death. But I digress. Ubisoft was a company that used to pride itself on delivering historically accurate and culturally appreciative games.
That's not true. No. Didn't they have like aliens and like no, they've always played with real life events and added some crazy shit into them, and I love them for that. They've done that a lot. And that's where I had a problem with the messaging, where they're like, "Oh, this is as historically accurate as possible." It's like, bro, you don't have to do that. Like, you can lean into like doing your own thing, and I think it would have came off a lot better with a lot of people, especially with the what's his name again, Sasuke, not Sasuke. Fuck, I forgot his
So
name.
the fact that they're the ones that are making these missteps and also having some pretty disappointing responses to their Japanese community, it
Shocker.
feels really bad. I mean, we're talking about a game set in Japan that many Japanese people are clearly not liking. When
No.
Shadows was delayed and pre-orders slumped, instead of recognizing legitimate concerns from a large portion of the community, including the Japanese community, or recognizing that a lot of fans were calling out and preferring their direct competitor, Ghost of Tsushima.
Ooh. And dude, there's a lot of like Japanese style games that are coming out here soon. A lot of like Chinese style games that are coming out soon. A lot of like just, there's a lot of stuff that's coming out that looks phenomenal. And we've reacted to a bunch of it on this channel, but yeah, it feels like this was their golden opportunity to actually like make a lot of money off of this type of game. And it is sad to see them pretty much fall apart.
Ubisoft's CEO essentially said gamers were at fault when Star Wars Outlaws sold only 1 million copies in the first month. He had claimed
The game was fucking broken. Like, the stealth was broken at launch. Yes, it's been fixed and there's been some polishing to the game, but the concept itself, like the character model right here, they had a character, an actual model that they base this character off of, much better looking than this character in general. Like, if you want to talk about uglifying women just to meet a certain standard, I don't know what it might be. So like female women that play these games don't feel like they're ugly because the character in the game's ugly. Like, none of this makes fucking sense to me at all. Like, if you're trying to make money, why would you even have the thought of, let's make the character ugly? Like, what's the why like, you doing that makes your mindset come into question immediately if that's the way you're thinking, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's like kind of like dry snitching on yourself type shit.
that gamers have extraordinary expectations that are basically impossible to meet, even when delivering solid quality.
Yeah.
It's honestly a fascinating timeline here. Pre-launch, we expect some kind of toxic pushback. Post-launch sales dip, gamers complain too much. Investor call, solid quality is not enough. They're shifting the blame at every step, and when leadership reframes lukewarm sales as proof that players are too picky, every critique becomes toxic by default. But
Yeah, that's a problem. I think their their issue is not toxicity. It's obviously making money, and it also seems like maybe you're in the wrong business if you are complaining about the results that are the concept today. You're getting hired to do a job, and whatever it was, it didn't deliver, right? You might have done your job perfectly, but the game didn't deliver, and it's not making the money it was expected to make. So, I mean, you can't be hating on your fucking customer base. I'm sorry. Like, there's plenty of games that are succeeding right now. There's something wrong with your formula. Fix it and do better. That's all you can do, and you better do better, because Tencent invested money into that shit, and if that falls apart, Jesus Christ, y'all are really. Oof.
is that really the only option here? Are there no other alternative reasons as to why your game didn't sell as well as you'd hoped?
No, there's obvious other reasons, but people get into these situations and they expect to lose their job, and they want to save face, and they want to be rehired somewhere else because they have expertise in that field, and they don't want to move to different fields, or because the comfortability and the overall just, having structure, having financial freedom, and dependent on the skills that they possess. But the reality is, it seems like there's a lot of people in game development, at least that are making decisions up top, that probably shouldn't be in game development to begin with. And probably shouldn't be in the industry to begin with. Or I don't know exactly what happens behind the scenes, but I can imagine there's a lot of different strings that get pulled, so it can get very, very complicated, so the blame can't solely fall on a couple individuals. But it's gross, and I feel like these people are like roaches. You know, they something fails, they blame the customer base, and they try to save face so they can move on to the next project that will then corrode. Because guess what? There's no soul in these fucking projects at all. Is that because the games take too long to develop? Is that because there's too much money in the pot, and there's too many people doing specific things, and there's too many voices, too many cooks in the kitchen? I don't know. You know, I feel like there's a lot of AAA games that do phenomenally well, and they are big budget games, and they have soul in their projects. And some of them, they don't hit. You know, some of them, they don't hit, but they had soul in it, and that's fine. The ones that I have a problem with are the ones that cost a lot of money and don't have soul and feel corrosive, feel like an empty husk, which feels like a lot of AAA games these days.
Gamers toxic becomes the default response anytime concerns are raised. It really starts to wear you down. It feels like being told that your years of support and investment in these franchises basically count for nothing, and that it was never to benefit us. It was all for them, the company. And yes, I know it is
which is annoying too, because the company doesn't stay the same. Like, I'm a fan of Halo. The company that makes Halo, and now it's Halo Industries, used to be Bungie, has had so many different forms of different people working there, and different engines and whatever it might be. It's fucking annoying, because you can be like, oh, I love Halo 3, I love Halo Reach, I love Halo CE, but Bungie is not the same Bungie, even though they don't make Halo anymore. Bungie itself isn't Bungie anymore. BioWare is not BioWare anymore. These developers are at other places and working on different projects, and it's sad to see, because I remember when the Bungie logo would come on and it would be swirling, and you get the blue tones and you get a deep humming noise, fucking ASR music to my ears, you know? This shit was fucking badass, and when that Bungie logo would pop up on the screen, I knew that game was gonna be fucking good. That meant a lot to me. We're seeing a lot of these companies now change over time, and new people come in, and the new culture comes in, and they get bigger and bigger. The projects take longer to develop, and they get fucking worse. Why is that? Why is that? That's the question you should be asking on your first day. Understand the history of the company. Understand the trajectory of where they're going. Are they going up? Are they going down? Look at the fucking graphs, bro. This shit is so fucking easy to figure out. Like, goddamn, people are making so much fucking money. I don't know how they don't figure this out. It just blows my mind.
Business, and the whole goal for the business is to make money. But it's weird, because it's almost like the consumers have no say, that what we want doesn't matter, and we should just appreciate whatever it is that they deem fit to give us.
Same shit's happened with Star Wars, Marvel, Halo, fucking so many different IPs, bro. It's the same shit over and over again. You have something that worked in the past that people are in love with, but you feel like you don't need to do that. It's service. And you need to do something different. You need to change it up to put your own stamp on things. Like when 343 made Halo 4, they decided to throw away the complete art style of Halo 3 and Halo Reach and do their own thing. They wanted to be more like Call of Duty and have more loadouts and all that kind of stuff. I know that was stuff in Reach too, but they were trying to take it to another level and change the whole art design. And guess what? I like Halo 4's campaign. It was good. But the art style is so fucking gross, because it is not Halo. It is, ugh, I can't stand it. And that's my own personal opinion, but it's like, why did they need to come in and change the art style completely? Oh, I know why. It's an ego thing. It's a new era type shit. It's fucking annoying, bro.
Running good games makes us the problem. And what happened after all of this? Well, the market responded exactly how you'd expect, and their stock dropped by about 17%.
Water doesn't lie. Customers don't lie. Because you know what they do? It doesn't matter what they say. Look at what they're buying, because people talk with their wallets.
I've never been
That's why Nintendo is still doing what Nintendo does. People are still buying that shit up. people talk with their wallets.
EA girl, but for Ubisoft in particular, this cuts even deeper than just normal bad business practices, because just like with my emotions with Nintendo, when you support a company for years and have so many good memories of playing their games, recommending them to friends, watching them repeatedly just turn around and blame you,
make sure Mario is not breaking into my room. All right, we're good.
Their fan for their failures feels like such a betrayal. This brings me to something I'd like to call the indie reality check. We're seeing massive AAA titles flounder all around us, and yet somehow we're also watching indies and indie-like titles completely blow up and experience huge success.
She's going to go in deep on this probably. I think the biggest reason is because obviously the biggest thing I've been saying, like, there's no soul in these AAA games. You're able to have a soul in these games. Like, when I imagined, like, making video games as a kid, because that's what I wanted to do. That was my dream job, right? I loved video games at the time, so I was like, oh, if I could make them myself, that'd be amazing. Sit down with a bunch of my friends, you know. I eventually got to the point where I was like, oh, drink some beer, kick back, play video games, develop it, figure out what you want to do, figure out what the story's going to be, figure out the mechanics and how this could work and how this could just keep people hooked and stuff like that. Dude, I love that, and the vision of it and all that kind of stuff, you know. I love stories, I love story building and all that kind of stuff. So having a team that's able to, you know, put ideas off on each other, and you know iron sharpens iron, and working together, and you know, able to sit in one room and have a meeting together, and you know, keep people accountable, but it's in a healthy way, because you know, the company's not 1,000 people, it's only like 40 or 20 people, you know. It's relatively a good size, feasible to make projects. I think that's one of the biggest reasons that indies have been taking off, because they actually have soul in their games, which a lot of AAA games that have flopped seem like they don't. And another reason is because graphics have peaked. They are getting better, obviously. You know, they have the 50 series out with the graphics cards now. And they'll continue to get better. But the amount that graphics have gotten better has reduced. Like from 2010 to 2000, we're all the way up here. But from 2010 to 2020, it's still big jump, but it's down to here. And then 30 will probably be down here, right? The graphics are going to be relatively similar to the best graphics we have now. And that just gives room for indies to catch up, especially when you have like tools like Unreal Engine and stuff like this that are accessible, where you can easily, at relatively a cheap amount, you can actually get a very, very high fidelity, very good looking game with a small team, which I think is phenomenal. I think having engines that are easily to use is great for the industry, not just because a lot more games will lean into that and they won't have their arbitrary, own specific engine for their game, where, you bring on a new guy, he has to, get up to speed, which might take 6 months, and then by that time he's a part-time worker, so now he has to be fired. It's just more efficient. I think those are the big two reasons.
The AAA studios have their ideas for why titles are failing, but when you look at the other side of the coin, the games that are
also the overhead isn't as big, but not specifically just the people working there, but the overall cost to make the game in general. That is a huge number compared to what, like $250 million. That's insane.
Actually winning, it tells a completely different story. And honestly, this gives me hope, because it proves that the problem isn't with gamers, it's with the approach. And nobody said this better than Sven Vincke from Larian at the Game Awards in 2023.
Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They understood the value of respect. That if they treated their developers and players well, those same developers and players would forgive them when things didn't go as planned. Yeah. But above all, they cared about their game because they loved games. It's really that simple.
Yep. Now, I know Larian technically is no longer...
This is the same mentality that I think back to the Bungie boys when they made Halo 3, Halo 2, and Halo 1. Like, Halo 2... No. Yeah, Halo 2 had a crazy... the transparency of how truthful they were wasn't probably the best with the E3 trailer, because it was a vertical slice, and that that didn't make it into the game. They had to really kind of like reconstruct what the game was going to be, and they had an amazing fucking push to actually have the launch of the game launch correctly at the time it was supposed to be, and that's why they cut it up and made Halo 3 the ending. But you know, they truly cared about the game. They're passionate about the game. Then, you know, having a studio like Larian or whatever it might be, and be able to hear feedback from, you know, people and actually address issues and stuff like that. It's like we have all these betas come out. I mean, I'm thinking about the Marathon situation. You know, there's a lot of people that were very much educated on that type of game with Marathon and gave them a lot of feedback, you know, pretty much saying you can't have this game be basic and easy. That's not how the genre is based. And they didn't listen to them. And, you know, then they had their own problems with the art direction and all that kind of stuff. But it's just like when you have these companies that don't listen to the feedback and don't listen to the fandom, and they instead, when things go wrong, point the finger and blame them or attack them. It's like, why? Why would we fucking like you? Why would we trust you? You know what I mean? And it's not even that. It's like you had a job to make something great and you didn't, and instead you attacked us. It's just, it's like, what? What kind of world are we living in? You think you are on some high pedestal because you have these ideals and you have these things in your game because you think you won everyone's heart with these brownie points, but the game fucking sucks. It's like, okay, if you included all those brownie points and it worked, well, shit. I don't think anyone would have a fucking issue. There might be some fucking right-wing extremist or left-wing extremist or whatever extremist that might have a problem with it, but the average gamer doesn't give a fuck. They don't. It's actually a very progressive, you know, community in general. Video games, it pretty much is. So it fucking frustrates me, bro. Like, just listen to your feedback.
Longer an indie studio, but he literally laid out the formula for success. They made a game that they wanted to play themselves. It's really that simple. The people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything other than a team first, entertainment first, consumer first approach. And they knew that if they did this, then the revenue would inevitably follow. When you focus on making an incredible game first, an engaging world, likable characters that draw you in, fun mechanics, compelling storytelling, and natural character development, the experience is not only fully immersive, but very successful. And when you look at some of the criticisms surrounding...
This is crazy too. Baldur's Gate 3, it won Game of the Year, and then it had DLC. And yeah, that shit was... What, I thought it had DLC. It says Larian recently revealed that there are no plans to release DLC expansions or a sequel. I thought Larian... I thought they did have DLC. Who had DLC to the game and it was free? I swear it was Boulder Gate, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm tripping. Was it Elden Ring? No, it wasn't Elden Ring. Who the fuck making DLC for free? I swear it was Baldur's Gate. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, but I remember when it won Game of the Year. I remember seeing all the streamers play that shit. That shit looked fun as hell. And damn, there's a lot of people that wish they would have made that instead of the shit they made.
Dragon Age the Veilguard, and you put it against Baldur's Gate 3, it showed that you can even have more progressive elements in your game without them feeling forced or performative. And their success clearly proves that. Despite what the media might say, no, I don't believe the majority of players are a mixture of is and phobes. I know everyone has their preferences, but across the board, most gamers can agree that they do not want developers sacrificing quality for messaging. If you've got forced messaging and an obvious lack of quality, you're in trouble because you're clearly not respecting the player, and that respect is so important. Baldur's Gate 3 respects the player and their intelligence, and it honestly lets you engage with themes organically and in a way that makes sense, a lot of times when and if you choose to. But Dragon Age tells you what to think and when to think it. So while AAA companies are telling us that microtransactions, live service elements, and $80 price tags are required, Sven...
Oh my god, why is gaming getting so expensive?
And his team proved that the exact opposite approach works much, much better.
Yeah, that's why the $50 meta is going to be killing it. Like Helldivers and games like that, they're just going to be thriving, bro. bro, people bumping up their prices up to $80 is fucking crazy. Then you have like NBA 2K, it's the same exact game every single year with a different park, and all they do is make sure that you get that VC bundle, so that way you don't have to spend $100 on the it's just fucking nonsense. It's crazy, bro. These motherfuckers literally have just systematic ways of making as much money as possible, and then you have duds like this that come out, and it's like, bro, how the why? Like, I just don't understand it. How do we have so many AAA dubs, man?
Speaking of $80 price tags, allow me to follow up on my Nintendo video for just a minute.
I bought a Switch.
Nintendo launched the Switch 2 with marketing about how they've fixed and updated all of the original's problems. And very interestingly, they also noted that the Hall effect precision for the Joy-Cons would not be present for the Switch 2.
Well, that doesn't seem like it adds up. I don't know how we're in 2025 and we have a new Switch and it doesn't have hollow sticks. It just, like, the first thing I did when I was considering buying a Switch was looking up a Pro controller with hollow sticks on it. It was literally the first thing I did. It is insane how quick these fucking Joy-Cons, the stick drift. It's not just, I want to be specific. It is not just the Switch. There's so many controllers that do this, and it's obvious. You know, you buy a cheaper controller, it's going to get stick drift, so that way you have to buy another cheaper controller. It's a non-ending process, but I mean, the Elite controllers are like $150, I believe, maybe $80 on the Xbox side. I think it's the greatest controller ever made, but those fuckers get stick drift too. They get button, the buttons stuck quite a bit, the bumpers and shit like that. There's a lot of things that go wrong with controllers these days. It's fucking annoying, bro. It's so annoying. When you can have a simple hollow stick in there so it doesn't stick drift at all, I don't see why people would, I understand they want to make as much money as possible, but if you want a better quality system, like, don't do that. It's so fucking annoying. There's a reason why, like, the handheld systems always have the hollow sticks in them. When you don't have, like, the Joy-Con feature when you can pop the controller off. It's because if they didn't have that shit would be useless in fucking, like, 2 weeks. Like, that's why I sold my Switch Lite. I bought a Switch Lite back in the day. That thing got stick drift. I immediately took that bitch to GameStop and returned that motherfucker. I didn't. Bro, I was praying to God that they wouldn't catch the stick drift, and they didn't. I lucked out on that, bro. That was the worst purchase ever. Having a console that you can't change the controller of get stick drift, oh my god, talk about a nightmare.
For whatever reason. But even with that being the case, they said they had designed these sticks from the ground up to be more durable. And
all they are is bigger. The console itself is more durable. I've dropped mine like 5 times today, actually, because I was cleaning. But yeah, it is way more durable. In the areas where I thought it could break, it is actually really, really strong. High quality build in general, but they strategically did not put hollow sticks on the Joy-Cons for a fucking reason, because those Joy-Cons are expensive and they're gonna make a lot of money off of them.
And yeah, unfortunately, some players are already experiencing Joy-Con drift 2.0. There's also been reports of console.
There was also, to be fair, at launch, people were like getting their screens and they were already broken because they were like stapling something on the side of the box, and the staple will go through and hit the screen. Crazy, bro.
Shutting down without low battery warnings due to a bug, and just general poorer battery life than anticipated. And Nintendo has quietly posted hidden recovery mode fixes. And
I think the Nintendo Switch is perfect for the last generation. Straight up. I think they're a generation too late with this console. I think this is what the Switch OLED should have been. I think they like kind of milked the upgrades way too much. Like, there's games on the Switch that were just not playable at all, like Pokemon, what's the new one that came out, Violet and Scarlet, not playable at all. It's a laughable joke. Go watch Ackman's video on it. It's fucking hilarious. And then there's another one, phenomenal game actually, Fire Emblem Three Houses. When you would walk around like the free roaming area, it would glitch like crazy. But now with the Switch 2, those games run like flawless, bro. It's the same art style, but I mean, more frames.
and released information on how to patch these issues. Now, when you launch a new and improved console that immediately sees some of the same problems as the previous one, but you've specifically marketed it as having solved those problems, that's just not a good look. But the real gaslighting comes in how they frame any criticism. When fans pointed out that $80 for Mario Kart World, the 16th entry in the franchise,
just go buy the bundle, bro. You don't need that physical copy. What you talking about, bro? Physical. Who needs physical?
feels excessive, especially when indie studios are delivering fuller experiences for $50. Nintendo's messaging essentially becomes, well, you should be grateful we're giving you anything at all. Doug Bowser literally told consumers who couldn't afford a Switch 2 to just buy the original Switch instead. Well, Mr.
It's the same shit that happened with the Xbox, by the way, because the Xbox One, they locked it so you had to play it with online play in the beginning. And there's people that were in the military that used to play like Halo and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, we don't have access to the internet, 24/7, when we're out and about, in Afghanistan or wherever it was at the time. And they said, just buy the Xbox 360. That one's specifically made not to be online. It's like, but they want to enjoy the new games. Oh, I think the Switch 2's launch is very interesting, and we'll talk about it one day. But I don't think anything will come close to the Xbox One. That shit was fucking pitiful. It actually set them back tremendously.
Bowser, given some of these early hardware issues, you might have helped some people dodge a bullet. Oh, and speaking of Switch 2 demand, someone was apparently so frustrated that they couldn't get one that they hijacked a Nintendo truck and stole over $1.4 million worth of consoles, which honestly, I don't know. That just feels like the most Nintendo thing to happen during a console launch. But let's get back on track and talk about some
Bro, that man is in the gulag.
Legitimate indie studios who are truly becoming the David to these AAA Goliaths. Sandfall Interactive and Clair Obscur should continue to get all the praise. You might not know.
Yes, bro, this game is fucking amazing looking. I haven't played it yet. It's downloaded already. Surprisingly, I haven't played it in the last 45 days of my little break, but dude, this game, the art design is fucking phenomenal. It is crazy, bro. Just scrolling through the moves and shit, like, oh my god, it's crazy.
This, but they only have 34 core developers working on the game. Yes, the media has begun to try and honestly completely diminish this by making sure to clarify that Sandfall had many other teams who contributed to the success of the game, the same as any other studio, but the facts are still the facts. They only had 30.
So they hired subcontractors. Okay. I mean, Halo Infinite had subcontractors, and some people actually think that Halo Infinite was made just by subcontractors. there was some. I was talking to my buddies, and they were like, "Does anyone at 343 Industries actually do any coding for the game?"
For game developers. We've also seen other indies like Citizen Sleeper, 1000 Resist, and Another Crab's Treasure hitting 1 million in sales with full teams smaller than.
I've seen ads for these, to be fair. Marketing's a huge deal with the games.
Than most AAA marketing departments. Pizza Tower, made by a super small team, has sold over 1 million copies. Damn. Hades was made by Supergiant with a.
This is an older game, right? Because they have the Hades 2 that's coming out. I've seen a couple of those trailers. It looks pretty good. It's not my type of game, but hey, it's got Onyx back there and shit.
Team of around 20 and became a cultural phenomenon. Celeste, the beloved platformer that tackled heavy themes, was made by just 7 people. And Gris, the beautiful exploration of grief.
See, I thought she was going to say something like Schedule 1 or something like that. Like Repo. There's been a lot of indie games that I play that are a lot of fun, man. None of these, though.
And Lost was made by less than 20 people and has sold over 3 million copies at this point. These aren't flukes. They're proof that quality has nothing to do with the size of the team. And another great...
Actually, I think, to what I said earlier, I think it's actually a better way to have more soul into the game, a better direction in the game overall. 100%.
Great thing about these teams that are pushing.
I mean, Balatro is made by one guy, right?
Boundaries and crafting unique and engaging stories is that for the most part, indies don't blame audiences when something flops. They don't call their critics toxic, they just focus on making the best games possible. Games that they themselves would love to play. The indie reality check shows us that when developers focus on passion over profit, respect their audience, and prioritize game quality over corporate mandates or checkboxes, success can and hopefully will follow.
You know what's funny? This reminds me a lot of what Joe Rogan says, because I used to listen to Joe Rogan a lot. I don't listen to him much at all these days. I'll listen to the Bernie one just because it's like a political influenced one. But he's talked about this a lot. He would have guests on and they would talk about like, oh my God, like reading the comment section and reading my social media and all this kind of noise. It makes me feel like shit. And he's like, don't read any of that bullshit. Post and go type shit. And I think that mentality is key to success. I really do. And it's weird to think about because like we live in an age of social media. So just not getting caught up too much in it is such a huge deal. And I mean, I don't get caught up in it much at all, but like I remember earlier on when I was like doing YouTube, and if I would get one comment or two comments on a video, I would be stoked. So when I did get that one comment, the first comment was like a hate comment or whatever it might be on one of my videos, it completely defeated me, like maybe rewatch the video, question what I said in general and stuff like that. And I realized that I can't let that negatively influence me. There's been times where negative comments have come in and I've seen the perspective that they've had, and it actually helped me get better. But I do think you get to a point where you're good at something and you don't need to rely on certain feedback to improve. Is that you always be at that level? I don't think so. I think negative or just criticism in general is good. Be able to understand the criticism and trying to work with it, because some people will criticize you and not know what the fuck they're even talking about, right? Or they're just trolling you and stuff like that. So I really do think that's a good mentality to have, because you do need to, if you're going to address the fans, you need to be able to address the feedback they give back to you and apply it and get better. And because at the end of the day, you're making the video game for them, right? You can't just ghost them. And then you could listen to the feedback, ghost them, not say anything, and then implement it. That'd be nice as well. But I don't know. I think that mindset is a little bit. I think it's cool.
Shows us that it's not about the size of your team or your budget. It's about your heart and your honesty. Which brings me to one of the most frustrating examples of industry gaslighting: the weaponization of the toxic gamer label. And
oh, I know all about this one.
This was brought to the forefront again pretty recently with the release of Stellar Blade on
boys, we know about this.
PC. Like its initial launch, the PC release has been a massive success. Within the first week,
I bet it's gonna. Oh, bro, the mods in this game are probably crazy. I didn't even think. Oh, they ported this, dude. I got a PC build. I'm thinking about selling my PlayStation now because I want the extra money to put into savings to buy a house one day, because I got that dream of me and my fiance having a family and shit like that in the house with my dogs and stuff like that. It'd be nice. That is crazy, bro. They got a fucking port for this game. Oh boy, these motherfuckers are probably going crazy. Like all the Marvel rival homies. Y'all motherfuckers, shit. Y'all probably already got this shit already.
It sold over 1.1 million copies on Steam, and it's now sold over 3 million copies across all platforms. But
how many people are repurchasing it just to play with mods? I wonder.
It's unfortunately, many of our beloved media were not super happy with the protagonist in this game. One journalist even called Eve a doll sexualized by someone who had never seen a woman.
Which is hilarious because this was actually based off of a real woman. I remember this came out, bro. This was crazy, bro. I think I already mentioned this in the video, actually. It is nutty how ironic a lot of this dialogue has been with the gaming industry. And I'm so sad that I've missed the last 45-ish days because, dude, I love talking this shit.
He ended up having to issue a full apology after It was said that Eve's design was actually scanned directly from a Korean model. And then, of course, other articles implied that the game's success was just because Eve only catered to the male gaze. Players, including women, clearly connected with this character and game, but somehow appreciating the character design became a moral failing.
If the character was ugly, this game wouldn't sell as much. Straight up. If you want to say it's sexist for having a hot female protagonist, I don't care. It's fair. You can say that if you want to. Sex does sell, and that has been a stereotype. It's been a concept in sales in general for a very, very long time. Is it sexist to have a hot female protagonist? I don't know. Is it sexist to have a hot male protagonist? I don't fucking know. I don't really give a shit about that. I really don't. There's guys that don't want to play as a female, so they won't play that type of game in general. There's guys that don't want to play a game as a guy because they don't want to stare at a guy's ass in the game 24/7. It can go both ways. I think that there's great games that you have ability to play either, and there's great games where you can play either or. Because they make that an emphasis of this is the character, you're not changing it. This is the story that we made. But I do think if Eve was ugly, the game wouldn't sell as much because the sex appeal is actually a seller of this game for sure. Very good game, great game, bro. Was the story as good as something like Final Fantasy VII Remake? No, it's arguably one of the greatest Final Fantasies ever. If you 7 itself, the original, and that's the story part of it, right? The first third of it. So no, it's I don't think it's something like that. I don't think the story's like grandiose, amazing. I think it's good, and I think the environments are amazing. I think the artistic direction of the environments are amazing. The animation is amazing, and most importantly, the combat is phenomenal in that game. And then also, you got some fan service in there as well, which is great. I think it's amazing. Some people might not, whatever, to each their own. But I think that what they did with this game was understand the customer base that they're going for, and they decided to make money instead of lose money. So they didn't make her ugly as shit. Because I think if they made her ugly as fuck, this game wouldn't have made as much money. Straight up. Just say it how it is.
Here's where the gaslighting gets obvious. When games like Outlaws and Forspoken...
For instance, Outlaws, you have a character where her racial ethnicity was tried to, blur it with nuance and make it, apply to anybody, so that way it checks every single box, everyone can feel like they're her or relate to her in some kind of way, therefore the game is for no one. Right, that doesn't even really matter, but it's, you cooking it down to just the protagonist itself. Forspoken, she's very annoying, and her dialogue was very annoying in general. I feel like it was written by God, I can't even say it right now. Millennial. Jesus Christ, I was about to say a millennial. But yeah, it's a lot of the writing in some of these projects I've mentioned, like it's so cringe and it's too much. And I think Forspoken, if the dialogue would have been better, could have been a better game. But yeah, it was probably one of the cringiest protagonists we've had in a long time.
Underperform, and when some fans express
also not ugly
disappointment about just not seeing the return of beloved protagonists like Jin Sakai or
Ghost of Yote. We mentioned this earlier. People thought this game was going to be woke because it had a character model of a real person who had some weird tweets out there. Now everyone thinks the whole game's gonna be fucking woke. Also, it's a female protagonist instead of a male protagonist. Same situation with The Witcher 4. But instead, people think that the character design got uglified because it was in a dark palette area. There's a lot of different points to all these different things. They're very different and similar in different ways. And it's also, some of these games failed or succeeded, and people, like these two in particular, I think are going to be very, very good games. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but there's been a lot of backlash towards these two. I don't think it needed any backlash. I think that people are thinking it's a spade and it's not. You know what I mean? And it's fucking annoying, bro. It seems so easy to spot this shit. It feels like common sense to me, But maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
Geralt. It's
Whatever.
because gamers are sexist and they can't handle female leads. But then we get...
That is true. No, that 100% are, and they're also been victimized by a lot of stupid woke bullshit trends in the industry. So they are negative Nancy. The glass is half full 24/7 until you prove them wrong. And that's just how they're going to be, bro. And that is what it is. You just got to prove them wrong.
A very female-focused game with female characters and a very prominent female lead, and it's super successful. I don't know, maybe it's not quite as they say. Even with the success of Stellar Blade aside, there are lots of other examples of this. Again, take Clair Obscur as another easy one. It's got a majority female cast, and it's basically been praised by every gamer across the board. Or how about one of my personal favorites, a Plague Tale series? And
isn't this like a show?
Even when I look at upcoming games like Last Sentinel, Tides of Annihilation.
Dude, Tides of Annihilation, that game looks fucking insane. If you've never seen this, the game trailer for this, bro, I made a video on this, bro. This game looked fucking insane, bro. I cannot wait for it. Cannot wait for it.
Or the new female protagonist in the first Berserker.
I hope it's good.
The community generally seems
I don't know any of these but Annihilation, but I am hyped for that game, bro.
pretty hyped. These games are getting very positive reception and excitement from the same audience that supposedly is sexist. So how does that work? The pattern is just too clear. According to many of our media and developers, when games with female protagonists succeed, it's despite gamers. When they fail, it's because of gamers. This really makes no sense. And like I've said many, many times in multiple videos at this point,
I think it does make sense. I think it's a perspective, and the flawed perspective of losers versus winners. I think that's pretty much what it comes down to. If you're a loser, you blame the customers for having a shitty product. If you're a winner, you thank the customers for buying your product, and it's an ego boost because guess what? Y'all are pumping out good shit. I think it's really that simple.
Gamers love female characters. We just want good ones. Series like Tomb Raider, Metroid, Horizon, Bayonetta, and so...
Wait. What? She said...
love
Metroid?
Female characters. We just want good ones. Series like
Metroid got woke up?
Tomb Raider, Metroid, Horizon, Bayonetta, and so many more are all examples of very prominent female characters with massive devoted fan bases.
Yeah.
And when the industry deflects legitimate criticism by labeling it as toxicity, it's a perfect way to avoid addressing...
You know what's funny? Let's go through that list real quick again. Let's see. Does she say any ugly female protagonist real quick? Let's think to ourselves.
And when the industry deflects legitimate criticism by labeling it as toxicity, it's a perfect way to avoid addressing the real problems with their products. When examples of very prominent female characters with massive devoted fan bases. And when the industry deflects legitimate criticism by labeling it as toxic, we just want good ones. Series like Tomb Raider, Metroid, Horizon, Bayonetta, and so many more.
Horizon 2, the one, you know, there's a little argument going there, but no, everything, yeah.
You lose the ability to actually improve, and more importantly, you lose the trust of people who genuinely want you to succeed. It's not about the gender of the protagonist, it's about the quality of the character and their ability to resonate with the audience. And we should not be gaslit into thinking that this standard is the problem.
I think it's really about, first, you have your gameplay nailed down. Then it's about, okay, is your story good? And then does your game look good? Those three are the biggest things, right? And if you don't have good gameplay, unless it's like you can have bad gameplay and have amazing story and have amazing aesthetics, and it still work. But if you have all three, you have the trifecta. It's like the fucking the triangle from the Triforce from Zelda.
At the end of the day, even though some of these examples were a little bit more minor than others, what disappoints me the most about all of this gaslighting is that the majority of us actually want developers to succeed. We want games to succeed. Gaming is the greatest storytelling medium that we have. And
we want good games because me specifically, talking about good games is the easiest content I can do. It really is, because I can just nerd out and talk about everything I love. It is so easy to do.
When it's done right, nothing else comes close. That's why this industry generates more money than all other forms of entertainment combined. I've loved games my whole life because they've always had the unique ability to just draw me into a story in a way that's so much more powerful than movies or books. And they've introduced me to characters that I still think about so many years later. So please, we are not asking for perfection. We just want honesty. If you change something to better reflect your audience's wishes, you should feel encouraged to celebrate.
I'm sorry, I'm still triggered about this. She does not look different to me, bro. She does not. Like, okay, you had some pores and a little bit of rosiness on the cheek, but like, I'm looking at facial structure, bro. I don't see much of a difference at all.
Break that, even if it's something very minor. And if your game isn't
how minor are we talking? Do I need to pull out the motherfucking... Like, bro, you want me to come out here and look at pixel by pixel? Like, bro, you need me to get a scale out? Like, that is crazy.
Connecting with consumers, maybe that means you should look at your decisions leading up to the release instead of pointing fingers at us. When games succeed because they give gamers what they want, a lot of times the industry says it's just pandering. And when games fail because they ignore what gamers want, it's our fault for being too demanding. It's all a bit exhausting and it makes no sense, and we're tired of pretending that it does. We love this medium because it lets us live stories. We'll happily pay for greatness, but when you shrug off quality control, raise prices mid-generation, insult us, and then somehow spin the blame back on us, it feels like some sort of weird emotional whiplash, and we, as the audience, as the customer, just want better. For us, for the developers, for the games, we just want better. Even though it's been a rough few years, I still believe this industry and its leaders can turn things around. We've been seeing it happen more and more recently, and it feels...
I don't think it's even turning it around, because I think there's a lot of people doing great things right now. And there's a lot of places where people do great things, but the specific area they're just lacking in. And I think it's... I don't think it's turn around. I think a lot of the people that are just committed to doing what they do and thinking that their recipe is going to work no matter what, they're going to fall, they're going to fail, they're going to burn, they're going to turn to ash, and they're going to be forgotten, right? And new people are going to come up, new companies will come up, and they're going to replace them, and just innovation is going to happen no matter what. Like, gamers are going to buy good games no matter what. If they come from America, if they come from China, if they come from Japan, you know, Ukraine, it don't matter, bro. It don't matter where they come from. Gamers are going to play good games regardless. So the victors will, you know, get the spoils.
Feels like there might be a real shift starting, because when studios are passionate about their vision and truly respect their audience, lightning strikes and magic can happen. But it starts with honest conversations and mutual respect. We are not your enemies. We're actually your biggest cheerleaders. We just need you to trust that we want the same thing as you. Great games. Thanks so much for making it to the end of this video, and look at this!
Oh, that's dope.
First and foremost, I want to thank you all so much for being here, and I hope that my 300 Spartans are still here and can see just how far we've come.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight!
We've got an army of almost 160,000 strong now. This channel really is dedicated to the hope that we can just
166K, damn.
Get back to the real heart of games, that player joy can be brought back to the forefront, and we can all start to really love this medium again. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about all of this. Has the industry been gaslighting you too, or are you wise beyond your years? Either way, the more we call out this kind of behavior, the harder it becomes for them to get away with it. Thank you again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.
It was a good video, man. I don't know why I had the thumbs down button on. Turn that into a thumbs up. I must have done that at the beginning of the video and I have known, clicking through it. This video came out 3 days ago. Obviously, shout out to the background NPC. This was a good video, man. It really was. So if you want to go watch the original one by her, go watch it. Go give her a like. Go comment on her video. Everything will be posted in the description down below. But I like to read the comments real quick, just a couple of them to get the vibe of what people are saying. Nice. The NPC has some new dialogue. What? talking about the plaque. EA blaming gamers for Dragon Age failure is like a chef blaming customers for not liking their bad food. Exactly. The industry had really gotten so mainstream that they just think we are too stupid to be able to tell the difference. They made her 10 years younger compared to the old design. Why can't they just admit it? We are not blind. I'm gonna be real. I don't think the design of Ciri is much different at all. I don't think it is. But it is what it is. Everyone has the right to their own opinion, right? Amazing a video. Like, comment down below. My name is Trey Swish. This is the Ether. I'm gonna be dropping a video every single day. This one's coming out today on Monday, and it's a long one. I'm not gonna make so many videos like this that are that long. An hour and 34 minutes. That is crazy. If you're still here, comment down below because I just want to know who the real ones are that are enjoying this, man. But yeah, man, hit that sub button. Let's get to 1K, and yeah, bro, let's go. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.